Hola! Today we're going to talk about Spanish language. You know how you listen something in Spanish, you listen to a song, listen somebody speaking in Spanish, you instantly feel like even I want to learn this language or I want to speak the language. I always feel this. I don't know if it's just me. If you do too, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to talk basically about Spanish language. What are the levels in Spanish, and if you want to speak in Spanish, there are some resources which I'm going to tell you about. Spanish is one of the most spoken language and also learned by a lot of people. If you want to get to a level where you can actually speak the language or understand what other people are saying in that language, the fluency only comes when you complete it level wise. Each level of the language, it has 6 levels altogether. So A1, A2 is the beginner, B1, B2 is the intermediate, C1, C2 is the advanced level. So to reach to the level of fluency or to understand it fluently, you at least have to do till your B2 level in the language. And from where can you learn all of this? You can either enroll for a course of these levels online or offline where you are looking for, and which works according to your schedule, your timings, your requirement and everything basically. The only output here is that you learn it level wise. The beginner levels clear your foundation of the language. You are learning a whole entire language, so it does take time. You have to follow the process to learn the language. Now talking about the resources that can be helpful for you, and let me tell you that these resources are online resources. Some of them are free, some of them are not free. If you search how to learn Spanish online, you'll probably get the options of these apps on top. You have to understand that studying a language is a full immersion into that language. You cannot just have one book or one course that you're attending for a level and feel like this is enough for it. So if you're learning with a teacher for say 1 hour a day for the week, it does not mean that you leave it for that 1 hour and then don't touch it at all. You need to follow the resources which I'm going to tell you. Now, one pro tip for learning Spanish: I started learning Spanish and by myself, not with a teacher, online. And one pro tip I would like to give you is that since I already am learning other language, I have an idea of how languages work or learning a language works. So you start learning by yourself first. If you do, you will come across the grammar part, which is relatively, like I told you, I felt easier because the previous language that I learned is German and the grammar is very much in that language. The pronunciation of the words and how the language is, it kind of feels like a tongue twister after a certain point. So I would recommend, if you are learning Spanish, you practice the speaking with someone, even though you're doing like the grammar part by yourself or learning the vocabulary by yourself, but you need a person who will help you with the speaking part. That is where I struggled, and I wish I would learn it with somebody to improve my speaking skills. Number 1 is the translator that you use to learn a language. Even if you are a beginner, I have come across people where they use Google Translate still. The tip here is, if you are using one translator, I would highly suggest you to use 2 translators at the same time, because there are instances where there is a word which you know in English and or in any language that you know, and you want it to be translated in Spanish, but there are different meanings that words have in their own languages. So I would highly suggest to use at least 2 translators which give you meaning and a context of it. So based on the context, you understand what meaning you need to know. So the best ones here is DLY, other one is Reverso. These two, use it together so that you get proper translation. And whenever you are translating words, again, another suggestion is that you maintain an Excel or you maintain like a Word doc or something where you are translating all the words and keeping a document collecting all the words that you're learning. You can write it in your notebook and keep as well, but having it digitally would help. The other one is Spanish language media. This is going to help you with your listening skills, and it will help you once you have at least completed your beginner level to understand the language more better. So you'll get TV shows, movies, radios in Spanish, and you can improve your listening practice with this. LiveLingua is another website that is very useful. Now with me personally, I really prefer using websites over apps for practicing the language online. I'm telling you most of the website resources because it's free to use and there is a lot of information that you can get, and once you are clear with that, maybe then you can move to the apps. So this one is LiveLingua. This is really good for your vocabulary. If you are learning vocabulary based on certain topics or context, one fault here it is there is no audio provided of that comprehension or article that you are reading or vocabulary, but it's really good for vocabulary. And Reverso will help you with the pronouncing of those words. SpanishLK is the next resource that you can use. It is really good for learning vocabulary with the context. Also grammar. It will help you with the conjugation of the words as well. The next one is BBC Languages. Now again, this one is when you are done with your beginner level so that you have more knowledge of the language where you can implement your knowledge basically. A good part about this is it involves listening audios and context, so your listening is practiced with the learning of the language. The next resource which I'm going to tell you is a great one. This is an extension to your Chrome. It basically is an installation that you'll have to do in your computer. It is called Twocan. This Twocan Chrome extension. So what this basically does is whenever you're using your Chrome to search data or do anything online, basically if you're searching for things, it will give you out the words in which language you have decided. So for example, if you go to Spanish, in your daily vocab it's all in English, but it will give out to you certain words in that context which will translate to Spanish. So as you are browsing your normal things, you will come across words which are translated in Spanish. You can always pause the extension. Other resources that you can use is of course books and podcasts. If you want, I can list down or recommend certain podcasts or books in Spanish which you can refer to if you're learning, maybe in the next video. Let me know in the comments if you do require this video. I will make it for you. That is it about the Spanish language, the levels that you got to learn and the resources. We are going to come up with recommendations of books and blogs and articles for different languages. So stay tuned and let us know which language you would like to know first. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys liked it. See you in the next one. Bye.